As we mentioned, Donald Trump is now facing a firestorm of criticism for comments that he made about the Muslim parents of a fallen U.S. soldier. During his speech at the Democratic National Convention, Kaiser Khan, the man on the left, said that the Republican nominee has, and I quote, sacrificed nothing and no one, end quote. In an interview yesterday, Donald Trump said that he has made sacrifices during his business career, but Trump also went after Mr. Khan's wife. You see her there, suggesting that she remained silent on that DNC stage because of her religion.
I saw him. He was, very emotional and probably looked like a nice guy to me. His wife, if you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. You tell me, but plenty of people have written that. She was extremely quiet, and it looked like she had nothing to say. A lot of people have said that, and personally, I watched him. I wish him the best of luck.
He said you have sacrificed nothing and no one.
Well, that sounds, who wrote that? Did Hillary's scriptwriters write it?
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I made a lot of sacrifices. I work very, very hard. I've created thousands and thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. I think
those are sacrifices?
Oh, sure, I think they're sacrifices.
For this candidate for presidency to not be aware of the respect of a gold star mother standing there, and he had to take that shot at her, this is height of ignorance. This person is total incapable of empathy. I want his family to counsel him, teach him some empathy. He will be a better person if he could become, but he is a black soul. And this is totally unfit for the leadership of this beautiful country. The love and affection that we have received affirms that our beliefs, our experience in this country had been correct and positive. The world is receiving us like we have never seen. They have seen the blackness of his character, of his soul, that he is void of recognizing, empathizing with people.
Face the Nation moderator, CBS News political director John Dickerson joins me now to discuss all. And again, John, to catch up our viewers perhaps who have not been following to this point, we have heard the GOP nominee now at one point criticize a war hero in John McCain, mock a reporter with regard to a disability of the reporters, criticize a federal judge because of his ancestry, and now dig in against two Gold Star parents. Does this add, is there a straw that will break a camel's back? I'm not going to ask anyone again, is this the moment of have you no decency, sir? But is there a camel back breaking moment?
If this is a bigger problem for Donald Trump than these previous things that you mentioned that have kind of gone under it, it will probably be keyed to two things. One, an accumulation, is that there will be just some number of people who are kind of flirting with the idea of backing Donald Trump who just say there are too many. Now, included in that group would be Republican lawmakers, some of whom may have already even endorsed him, who've just said he's too unpredictable. And that's a purely political calculation, which is I, as a Republican, can't be running in November and constantly have these eruptions going on that are going to cause. So that's a purely self-interested reason that this accumulation of things might be a problem. The second thing is whether this feeds into people's worries about temperament. Now, those worries have been stoked by Democrats. So let's be clear about that. But there are those Republican voters who are worried about Donald Trump as president. And what this could show them is that he just can't keep his impulses in check. And the impulse here is to strike back against somebody who's criticizing him. He was criticized very heavily, very sternly by Mr. Khan. And basically, the response most politicians would have is, you just got to take the criticism. Here are two parents who lost their son in the service of this country. Donald Trump didn't do that. So does that make people think, okay, well, his trigger is too fast on these kind of things, in addition to whatever offense people may take by his response.
We've seen that response really from Paul Ryan. We've just in the last 24 hours seen the response, in fact, from his own running mate, Mike Pence, who has echoed the idea of we respect the loss of the Khan's son and seem to try to distance themselves, but I also wonder against the real politic of this campaign, and really a 4-day optical exercise, whether it was in Cleveland or Philadelphia, that of donors and the impact this can have on somebody looking perhaps with that pen idled over the checkbook, and this is just another reason not to sign it.
Right, and that goes back to, you're right, I mean, that goes back to the Republican Party and how it survives, and part of the way it survives is by raising money. And the issue that people are raising to me is that Donald Trump's first answer when he was asked about this by George Stephanopoulos, he went right to talking about Mrs. Khan. That's the instinct that worries them. And when I say them, I mean the check writers and the people who are thinking about the Republican Party more broadly, is that his first instinct is this combative instinct, even when all political instincts should tell you no. You know, there's only one way to answer this, which is to talk about the dignity of the service and the family. So that is exactly what is worrying and has worried check writers and other Republicans. They had hoped that he would turn a corner, and that, you know, the closer you get to Election Day, the harder it is to turn a corner before the voting takes place.
Quickly, I do want to ask you about the CBS News poll out now. Shows Hillary up 7 points nationally. The post-convention bump, perhaps. A couple other numbers in there. White college-educated voters are up 5% with regard to their likeliness to vote for Hillary Clinton. Also, self-described conservatives, 21% of them now say they'll go for Hillary Clinton in November.
So two things are interesting about that to me is Republicans have always won white college-educated voters or they've done well in that group since the polling started in 1952. So Hillary Clinton's eating into the Republican constituency. That conservative number explains to you why in the convention and in the days surrounding it, Democrats were always talking, well, not always, but talking about Republicans in favorable terms. They talked about Mitt Romney and John McCain. John McCain got cheered at least twice in the convention that I remember. Also, Hillary Clinton talking about other people like James Baker. Kaine was talking about Paul Ryan as a decent guy you could work with. This is to talk to Republicans and say, you know, there is a place for you here if you are terrified by Donald Trump. And so they know in their polling about that possibility that's out there. And for the number of conservatives, 21% to be supporting Hillary Clinton, that's huge, because if you look at the policies she's promoting, college for everyone, increasing access to health care, minimum wage at $15 nationally, those are not conservative policies or policies that conservatives would get behind, in addition not only to her support for abortion rights and things like that.
Anathema in election cycles past, but as we've noted, this is one unlike any other. John Dickerson, as always, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.